Hudson County View live on Uncut. I'm your host for What You See Is What You Get, and What You Don't Is Better Yet, John R. Heinis, talking about the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. So, obviously, there are local happenings, as always, but the biggest story in the country right now is, of course, about Roe versus Wade. We saw Politico got a leak of a Supreme Court of the United States draft decision that said that there are plans, it appears, to overturn Roe versus Wade, which of course has huge implications on reproductive rights in this country. So with that in mind, we're going to be talking about what we heard from our congressional representatives. That's Donald Payne Jr. and Albio Sires. We also heard from the three people seeking Sires' seat in the 8th District. So that's Rob Menendez, David Ocampo Gonzalez, and Ann Roseborough Eberhard. So we're going to tell you what they had to say on the issue. And also yesterday, there was a protest hosted by the Hudson County Democratic Socialists of America over at Harborside in Jersey City. So we're going to talk about that, and we're actually going to talk about, talk with the treasurer of that organization, and that's Julia Tache. She's going to join me remotely, and we appreciate her jumping in on short notice. And if we have time, we're also going to talk about the Hoboken City Council meeting from Wednesday night, as well as what to expect in the Bayonne municipal elections on Tuesday. So all that, and maybe a little more, right after a break from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, certified parts and service located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunley Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View live on Uncut. John R. Heinis. We're just working on a couple technical issues to make sure that everything works smoothly with our guests. So in the meantime, why don't you watch this clip from the rally, the protest I just mentioned yesterday about abortion rights at Harborside in Jersey City.
There are a lot of words to describe this week, right? Devastation, pain, anxiety. Two words that I don't want to hear anyone leaving today's action repeat are the words shock or surprise. It should be no shock, it should be no surprise that the same arm of government that ruled that black folks are 3/5 of a person, the same arm of government that was slow to act against miscegenation laws, against naturalization and citizenship, slow to affirm our civil rights, our voting rights, our immigration rights, slow to affirm our right to marry whoever we want, slow to affirm so many of the rights that our movement has fought hard to win. It should be no shock or surprise that they are now deciding against our right to bodily autonomy, our right to reproductive justice. I stand here today on behalf of the Hudson County.
Hudson County View live and uncut. John Heinis, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, today we're joined by Julia Tache, and she's the treasurer of the North New Jersey Democratic Socialists of America. Julia, thanks for coming in and joining us on short notice. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of the chapter.
You're very welcome. So, look, obviously we just came in with this clip from yesterday's rally. First, let's go back to Monday night, 9:30, 10 o'clock. I don't think any of us were expecting this explosive report by Politico. Certainly this was an outcome that people were concerned about for many months, but the timing, I think, caught a lot of people by surprise. So just tell me your thoughts and how you reacted as an organizer.
Right, so I think when I first reacted, I was reacting more just on a personal level as a woman. And it was, Amy Torres, who the clip you shared before, said, this is something that we shouldn't be shocked about because this is the same court, the same institution that has regularly ruled against bodily autonomy, against the rights of so many marginalized people. But I will admit that in that moment, I still felt a lot of shock. I was stupefied. I knew that, the attacks on abortions were increasing. I knew that this was a right that was going to be threatened. But I guess I just didn't expect that it was going to be overturned so swiftly. Then finally, after I had a personal moment, I reacted as an organizer. And right away, people within my network, within DSA, were trying to brainstorm, what are we going to do about this? Because, it's easy to condemn, it's easy to kind of sit idly by, but how are we going to get the word out, get the message out that this is not something that we're going to stand for? So I had a bunch of really awesome comrades who right away were saying, okay, we got to get a statement out. We got to get on the streets. We got to, plan something. And that's how the rally that happened yesterday came into fruition, because we connected with a lot of coalition partners and got people out on the street, as I mentioned, to show that we are serious about this, that, DSA needs to be there to lead the charge, and that these attacks on bodily autonomy, this slide into fascism, that we're just not going to stand for it.
All right, so on 24 hours notice, you guys certainly got a pretty solid turnout in my book. And with it in the rear view now, what's your takeaway from yesterday's event, and what significance do you think that'll have going forward?
Right. So we organized this rally with a bunch of coalition partners, as I mentioned, Black Men United, Jersey City Mutual Aid, New Jersey Immigration Justice Alliance, Hudson County Pride, JC Anti-Violence. I could go on. And I was really moved by the speed at which we were able to all come together. And we had some specific demands based on the location that we were having that protest in, which was right in front of Senator Bob Menendez's office in Harborside. One of that was to pass the Women's Health Protection Act. This was introduced in the House in 2021, and it actually passed. So now it's sitting on the Senate floor. It's up for Democrats in the Senate to pass this, if they're going to continue to say that they're champions of abortion, that they're champions of women's rights and queer rights, and to not, as I mentioned before, sit idly by. In order to pass this, there's a very good chance that they're going to have to either suspend or ideally abolish the filibuster. The filibuster has been used countless times to completely prevent any type of progress from being passed. And this call to action wasn't just for Bob Menendez. It wasn't just for our elected officials. It was also for the people who attended that protest to, sign up for DSA, continue to organize in a committed, consistent way going forward. Because this is not going to end anytime soon. There's so many things that are at stake. So it was, a demand to our legislative officials, but it was also a huge ask for the people there, to come out and basically join the fight.
All right, Julie, we're not done yet. We're going to do another segment, but we do want to hear just a quick word from our sponsors, so we'll be right back.
Introducing the all-new Ford Maverick. A truck for people who do stuff. And people who make stuff. People like Gabrielle Union.
I make this look good, don't I?
Who haul whatever they want to wherever they want. Like wood to build things made of wood with. And friends to get weird with. It's for long trips that the standard hybrid engine with a targeted EPA estimated city fuel economy rating of 40 miles per gallon helps with. That an 8-inch touchscreen connects with. And any trip that this interior makes more comfortable. But we'll let Gabrielle tell you all about it.
Or I could just tell them it's a Ford truck that starts at less than $20,000 MSRP.
Yep, that works too. The all-new Ford Maverick, built to defy expectations.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and I'm still joined remotely today with North New Jersey Democratic Socialists of America Treasurer Julia Tache. So, Julia, obviously we've heard a lot in the national media about how this was the first leak in the history, I guess modern history really, while there's still a pending decision in front of the court, and that's getting a lot of attention in places like the New York Times. I saw it on CNN, certainly been a talking point on Fox, so on and so forth. So what's your opinion on this whole aspect of the decision?
So it is unprecedented that this particular decision was leaked. However, I think that as surprising as this leak was, we have to revert the attention back to the main focus, which is the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned. And as I said before, that this could mean dire consequences for so many other things. I think as of right now, it's unclear whether or not this was a whistleblower, but I think the person who leaked this knew exactly what they were doing and did so in order to I hope to mobilize people in order to fight back. I want to, explicitly tie the issue of abortion as an issue of workers' rights as well. This is a working people's issue. The right to abortion ties to so many rights to social services, the right to health care, and the right to the emancipation of women, the ability to, work, to decide when to have a child, not just, women, but anyone who's able to have a child. And I think the person who decided to leak this was really cognizant of the fact that this was going to get a huge reaction. This was going to get a lot of blowback. And, the mobilizations out on the streets that have been happening are proof of that.
All right, very good. So obviously you're aware that in New Jersey, we had this Freedom of Reproductive Choice Act codified earlier this year, which means that even in the scenario where Roe versus Wade does get overturned, reproductive rights in New Jersey won't change much, if at all. And Governor Phil Murphy has come out and said that he wants New Jersey to basically be a safe haven for women. So, while throughout the country this is a tumultuous time, I would imagine that particular aspect of this situation, is a lone bright spot, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. I will say that on one hand, it's a bright spot because for now, in places like New Jersey, in places like New York, abortion is quote unquote, I mean, it's still legal, obviously, but I am cautious of saying that it's safe. One major issue is the fact that as of right now, there are 26 states with trigger laws, which means that once Roe is officially overturned, they're set to completely ban abortion, which means that for those people who are seeking abortions in those states, they, if they have the means, may end up coming to New Jersey, New York, all these other states that currently have protections set in place for abortion, which could end up with completely overwhelmed facilities. The fact that we still have the Hyde Amendment in place means that there's already restricted funding for abortion services, and it could just create bottlenecks for this essential service, this essential human right that people need. And for now, it's legal in Jersey, but what's stopping the Supreme Court from creating an all-out ban? What needs to happen right now is there needs to be it needs to be a national protection. That's why, as I said before, we need the Women's Health Protection Act. We need to codify Roe v. Wade. It's been on the books as a Supreme Court decision for the past 50 years, and yet there's been nothing in place federally that's ensured that abortion will continue to be legal and available in all 50 states. And that's something that we need to fight for.
All right, so obviously it's also been noted quite prominently, and it's not really a secret that, Democrats have the presidency, they have the Senate, they have Congress, and, some people feel like they should have acted on this as far back as a decade ago. I mean, what's your take on that?
I think a decade ago would have even been too late. I think immediately after this passed, Roe v. Wade, there should have been some sort of federal protections in place. And, we're at an extremely dangerous moment right now with this decision being overturned, but that doesn't mean that this is the end. It doesn't mean that, the Democrats who, as you said before, have the presidency, have the House, have the Senate, can make a huge stride in protecting the rights of people who are able to have children when they can have those children, and the right to an abortion.
All right, very good. So, we're running a little short on time, but I just want to ask you before you go here, what's your role going forward, and how would you like to try and accomplish that?
I think right now the role of organizers like myself and the Democratic Socialists of America is going to be to lead the charge on this issue. So immediately we want to be out on the streets, mobilizing people, getting those numbers out so people can see that this is something that people deeply care about. I think going forward, there needs to be a deeper organizing effort that ensures the equality and the right to access for, as I said, this human right of abortion for all people, but then also tying that to the other issues that we find really important. Medicare for all, for example, is huge. As I said before, this ties in with workers' issues because, we have no paid family leave in this country. We have a higher infant mortality rate, a higher maternal mortality rate compared to other developed nations. These are all issues that we can tie back to the fact that we have a system where the capitalist class has so much of the wealth, so much of the power, so much of the resources, organized and collected in a few hands of the few. And basically working people do not have the agency to govern their own lives. And DSA is in the process wherein we have this project of switching that system so people do have the resources, the ability, the power to govern their own lives.
Julia, thanks so much again. Great of you to join me on short notice. Pleasure seeing you yesterday. Best of luck going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panepintodevelopment.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Ford made their first all-electric SUV a Mustang. Rapid acceleration, reactive handling, 300-mile range. You control how it feels and how it sounds. It knows you. It dials into your preferred settings. It has an array of driver assist technology. Cameras and sensors enhance your awareness and provide you with additional control. But it's more than cutting-edge technology. It's the spirit of it. It's a Mustang.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis. And briefly, let me just relay what we heard from our federal representatives here in Congress. That's Donald Payne in the 10th District and Albio Series in the 8th. So Payne said, this absolute travesty is the direct result of the continued radicalism of the Republican Party and its turn to the far right. Now women across the country are in jeopardy of falling backwards to a dark past when access to a safe abortion procedure was difficult or impossible. I have always been a proud supporter of a woman's right to choose because I know that we must trust women to make their own healthcare decisions rather than dictating to them. So, I won't belabor the point too much, but I'll also, again, tell you what Congressman Series said, and I actually had the chance to speak to him on the phone on this topic, and he said this is awful, quite frankly. If they do this to the abortion law, they could do it to anything they disagree with socially. This is setting a terrible precedent. This is what they wanted all along. 80% of the country doesn't want to change it. They don't care. It's all about the social agenda. It's in the hands of the Supreme Court. We have to see what they come up with, and we try passing some things, but if it becomes the law of the land, you have to wait until you take over the Supreme Court. And, I won't read them all, but I will also note that, as I said at the top of the program, that we heard from Rob Menendez, we heard from David Ocampo-Gonzalez and Ann Roseborough Eberhard, and they all, of course, are running in the 8th District for what will be a vacant seat. Congressman Series is retiring at the end of the year, so I would also urge you guys to read that if you haven't already. So I think that covers that for the time being. Certainly we're going to stay on top of it, but we are going to pivot now to the Hoboken Council meeting from last night. And there was a couple things to talk about, but the one that we have in front of us here is they had a couple new regulations for cannabis. And the first one, they wanted to expand the Cannabis Review Board. Right now it's 3 members, and that's pretty standard. That's what Jersey City has. That's what North Bergen has. And I believe that's what Bayonne is aiming to do, though I don't think their board is up and running yet. So pretty standard, but we saw that Councilwomen Tiffany Fisher and Jen Giattino, they wanted to sponsor an ordinance to make that 7 people. So in addition to Council President Mike Russo, in addition to Business Administrator Jason Freeman, and Director of Health and Human Services Leo Pellegrini, they wanted 3 members of the public, and they wanted the Public Safety Director, who's Kenneth Ferrante, a retired police chief. Certainly we've talked about him in recent weeks when discussing the Public Safety Department and their budget. So with that in mind, they were planning on introducing an amendment that would have had 4 members of the public, since Ferrante apparently politely declined to serve on the board. So that would have been 2 members of the public appointed by the mayor, 2 appointed by the city council. So with that said, this actually did end up making it through. It was voted down 5-3, and we saw Russo joined by council members Phil Cohen, Joe Quintero, Emily Jabor, and Jim Doyle in voting no on this thing. And what we heard from Fisher during the tail end of the meeting, she was pretty upset about this, and she said currently the terms of agreements are being dictated by Council President Russo. There are 3 people on it, but Council President Russo says this is what he wants a minute before the vote is held. And she noted that the CRB Council, the attorney for the board, urges them to approve the terms prior to voting on the final passage. We wanted to change that, remove any appearance of impropriety. It was voted down by Team Bala. So, no secret that she's often at odds with the mayor's allies on the council. But we heard from Emily Jabor, and she said that the reason that she probably didn't get the votes here was because she didn't follow protocols. And what she meant was that this didn't go through the subcommittee, to which Fisher said that while that was true, that's a rule that's new under Council President Russo. And in the past, as long as you had 2 sponsors, it goes on the agenda. She noted it's been on the agenda since Friday. And it is what it is. It was voted down. But, despite that fact, we heard quite a bit of conversation about this all the way through the end of the meeting. And Russo eventually fired back And while he said that he likes to let council members address their constituents, talk about, important topics in their ward, he said he wanted to address some inaccuracies and, quote unquote, some of the hypocrisy being spoken about. He said, because someone does not agree with your potential legislation, you cry foul, when in fact there was a majority on this council under a former administration when council members were crying foul now to the exact same thing. And he also said that Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala is the person who negotiates the community host agreements after the review board approves these cannabis applications. And he told Fisher that if that's something she was interested in, she should have run for mayor. So he said, you chose not to. You were a councilwoman. That is your role. That is the way this goes. And if you don't like it, let's stop being childish. If there's 5 votes to move something forward, it moves forward. And, this continued for quite a while. He told her to stop the grandstanding. He said, stop spreading inaccuracies. And at that point, you could see 6th Ward Councilwoman Jen Giattino was not exactly delighted with the proceedings. And she, during new business, said for grandstanding, do you guys want to see some grandstanding? June 16th, watch that council meeting. It's the last 10 minutes. And keep in mind, all the people grandstanding knew a person of color had applied to the HHA board 2 days or 1 day before that. They all do, so you watch. There's some grandstanding. And it continues, and I suggest you check out that story if you haven't had a chance yet. But she's referring to that meeting where there was talk about how there isn't enough black and brown representation of the Hoboken Housing Authority, and the council representative that was appointed ended up being Russo. And also at last night's meeting, we'll get to this later today, the HHA chair, Dave Mello, a former 2-term councilman at large, did not get reappointed. Instead, they went with a new pick, and that led to a really interesting discourse throughout the council. So I won't spoil that, but we are going to take one final break. We'll be right back.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, certified parts and service located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John R. Heinis. So I don't have a ton to add about the Bayonne municipal races, but I do just want to remind people that they have 3 opportunities to vote early on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, that's right at City Hall. It starts, I believe that's 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, and that's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. So just a reminder, those elections, of course, are on Tuesday. Election day, of course, you could still do your regular thing to cast your ballot in person, like you would any other standard election. But just a note that if you want to get it out of the way early, you have that option. Of course, those residents in the Peninsula City are going to vote for the mayor and the 5 council representatives. That's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Ward, and 2 seats at large. So not much else to add on that at this moment. I'm just going to close with New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission reports on Democratic state committees throughout New Jersey. Now, you may recall in July, I reported that the HCDO had a pretty sizable 6-figure debt, and it looks like over the past 9 or 10 months that hasn't changed, because this report from ELEC that was sent to the press yesterday gave a breakdown of what everybody raised, how much cash on hand they have, and how much is in the account. Bottom line, in the first quarter of 2022, the Hudson County Democratic Organization raised $60.60 and has a debt of $121,699.08. So actually, that was only the second worst fundraising tally in the state. Somehow, the Merced County Democrats raised just $5 total in the first quarter of 2022, according to ELEC. So they have a lot of old debts. One's $30,000 from the Mark Smith for Mayor account. One's from Sarkeesian Florio County, which is now Florio County Reval. That's $35,762.11. I spoke to their treasurer, Craig Guy. He said Hudson is different than some of the other organizations around the state, like Camden, Bergen, or Essex. The mayor's elects are more important than the entity. In order to have an event for the organization, it has to make sense for all 12 mayors. We don't raise money to give money to statewide candidates, but we try to elect strong mayors and put a strong delegation in place. We do look forward to relieving most of that debt, about 90 to 95%, in the next quarter. So, ladies and gentlemen, next time I see you, we will have a big update on what's going on in Bayonne. We could congratulate Weehawken Mayor Richard Turner and Union City Mayor Brian Stack on another term, along with their slates, because they're running unopposed. And with that, I'll see you next week.